Hey Canucks fans, welcome to a massive training camp edition of Ask Me Anything. I'm Clay Emo, I'm at Canuck Clay on Twitter, I'm at Clay Emo on Instagram. I'm the founder of the GLCPC, the Good Looking Canucks Positivity Club, and this is my Canucks take, all in one take. It's Clay's Canucks commentary for Sunday, January the 3rd. This is where you get Canucks insight that's positive and timely. Gonna go pretty quick today. I have to drive my kids somewhere in about 15 minutes, so I'm gonna limit myself to about 15 minutes or less. I have 12 questions to answer, so you can see this is going to have to go very quickly, but I wanted to say a couple things really quickly. At the end of this video, I'm going to have a really big announcement on 4 collabs that I'm working on this week. So I'll talk about that in a second, and then, not in a second, at the end of this video. Also, I want to acknowledge that there's the training camp opening this morning, the press conference with Benning and Green. Nothing of massive earth-shattering consequences. They talked about the need to bring in depth. That's why Travis Hamonic. They talked about Sven Baertschi getting a chance. Jim Benning expecting Jake Virtanen to step up. Neither of them are worried about a Travis Green extension. So everyone was saying the right things. A good level of optimism as there should be on the first day of camp. So we'll see what happens as we progress. But I'll go through the press conference a little later. And if anything else comes up, I'll make sure I vlog about it sometime this week. And I also want to give a shout out to my lovely wife, Gail, who made this awesome cup for me. As you can see, it says Canuck Clay. It changes color, so it's actually darker where the water is and lighter up top. And then we've got the stick and rake on the other side. So I'll be drinking from this in all my videos now. Oh, so good. Well, it's just water, but let's get to it. Ask me anything. So many questions, and I'm going to try and give them all justice, not skip any of them, but go at a relatively quick pace today. All right, Teresita says this. Hey, Clay, this is a 90s question. What would you fix during the 94 final cup final run? Wow, 1994, so I was 20 years old. I watched every game that run. We lost the Rangers, obviously, in Game 7. You know, the easy one would be to say that Nathan Lafayette does not hit the post and instead scores, because then Game 7 might look a little different. But overall, you know, obviously I would love for the Canucks to win. They had enough, maybe, you know, one more, I think if we had one more elite scorer, that might have put us over the top. Like we had Bure, of course, and then Courtnall and Ronning and Linden could put the puck in the net. Adams, Momesso. But if we had another elite scorer, like even, it doesn't have to be as good as Bure, but just below him, I think that's what would have put us over the top. But it was a good series, and obviously we only lost by a goal in Game 7. Patrick Starr says this. What are your thoughts on Arvid Kosmar so far at the World Juniors? And then Eli says this. What's the upside that you see in Kosmar? Fourth, third, second, first line, or AHL plug? Well, I thought Kosmar had a good tournament. Unfortunately, it ended early yesterday with Sweden's loss to Finland. That shocking loss. I tweeted a picture of him, and I basically said, you know, that it's too bad that his tournament ended, but he was named one of Sweden's 3 best players in the entire tourney. I think he's going to surprise some people as a 7th round pick. You don't expect 7th round picks to really make the team. So to answer both questions, at the World Juniors, I thought he was good. I thought he was noticeable. He scored a couple goals. He was always creating in front of the net. He's also hard to play against. He pulls, he yanks, he tugs, he holds. So he's a pest that you want on your team, but you hate to play against. So I thought he had a great World Juniors. And what's the upside I see in him? I can see him, if you're saying upside potential, no higher than a 3rd liner. And he might be an effective 3rd liner. I see him as a 4th liner, but I definitely see him as a chance to make the NHL eventually. So 7th rounder, but who becomes a 3rd or 4th liner, I think we would consider that a success. Rome Ticklin says this. Other than Rome, what are the top 3 places you and your wife would love to visit someday? Great question, Rome, and thanks for noticing. I've talked about how it was our 20th wedding anniversary in July, and we had plans to go to Rome. Obviously, we couldn't do that this year. I think Paris would be one for sure. A very romantic country. I think Greece would be another one. And I would love to take Gail to Japan. I'm not sure if she would like that. I think she would, but she was born and raised in the Philippines. And she's been in Japan before. And maybe I'll add a 4th is Australia. So why don't we say France, Greece, and Australia as 3 non-Rome places to go to take my wife to. But thanks for asking, Rome. Good question. Christian, do you think Hoglander can make the team either 2nd or 3rd line? No, not this season. I think there's still too much depth. There might not be the best players on our bottom 6, but they're still NHL proven players. And thus, I think Hoglander is going to peak at the taxi squad. He might get into the lineup later in the season of injury or performance, but I don't think he's going to make the team out of camp, the true team of the 23-man roster. I expect him to be on the taxi squad. Eric says, what are the odds of the Canucks finishing on top of this division? Before yesterday, I would have said very slim. I still have Toronto and Calgary as my top two teams in the North. But this Hamonic division addition, if it works out, could bump the Canucks up a little bit. They're still a little thin up front, but their blue line is now a lot stronger with the addition of Hamonic. So I'd give them a 10 to 20% chance of finishing. I still think Toronto's a better team. I still think Calgary might be a better team. But yeah, I think their odds went from like 5 or 10% up to maybe 15 or 20% to win the division. So I don't think it's impossible. I don't think it's likely, to be honest, but I certainly think they're a playoff team for sure. Matthew, do you think these next 2 years for Jake Virtanen are make it or break it years? And will Besser finally have a season like his rookie season? So two questions there. Yes, Virtanen, given his 2-year contract, the fact that he got one, I think it is make it or break it time for him for sure. And then Besser, I liked a lot of things that he did in his game, not just the scoring, which dropped off, but his passing and his defensive awareness and his compete level. So I think that he can bounce back. He might not ever be like 30 to 35 goal scorer, but if he can get 20 or 25 and be really an all-round player, I think we would take that for sure. This question is really funny. Jog Paul says this, what do you do for a living? You look like a car salesman. So, I'm not sure if that's a compliment or an insult. I'm going to take it as a compliment because I'm the founder of the GLCPC. Jog Paul, I work for the Catholic Archdiocese, the Roman Catholic Church. I've been working there for 18 years now, and I help churches do their ministry. I help train leaders in ministry, and I do some communications work as well. It's some speaking, presentation. So I work for the Catholic Church full-time. That's my full-time job. But thanks. Car salesman, I haven't had that before. Maybe it's because I vlog from my car all the time, but maybe not. Okay. Debut Hunter, Clay, how many Canucks games do you think you would watch if games were on at 4 a.m.? I'm a passionate Canucks fan, but later this month I'm moving to Turkey for the season. Well, that's exciting that you're moving to Turkey. Good luck. I presume that's for work or for school, likely for work. How many Canucks games do you think you would watch if games were on at 4 a.m.? Depending on my job, depending on what else I have going in my life, I think I'd get up for them. I wouldn't say all of them because life happens, but I'd say a good 80% of them I think I would get up for, especially depending on the opponent. Of course, time zones I don't know if the 4 a.m. is the Pacific or the Eastern time zone, so I don't know if it's actually going to be 1 a.m. or 7 a.m. for you on other games. But I presume you're talking about home games, 4 a.m. So I'd get up for 80% of them, I think, depending on what my job was. And I would shift my schedule, right? So I would go to bed really early, but get used to getting up super early. So good luck, Davey Hunter. I'm excited for you. Justin, AMA, would you have signed Zdeno Chara 1 year for $795K? Yeah, if this Travis Hamonic thing didn't go through or wasn't planned, I think any defenseman with NHL ability on our third pairing for less than $1 million or less than 1.5 would have been a good fit. So just like I expect Hamonic to be, yes, I would have signed Chara. Despite the history, his best days past him for sure. He won a cup against us, but he's still a serviceable player. And at that amount of money, it's not much of a risk. Maestro says this, do you think the European coach can succeed in the NHL? Yeah, I think a European coach, it doesn't matter where you're from. I think any coach from anywhere can succeed as long as they have the aptitude and the attitude and the capability. Obviously, we don't see a lot. All the coaches are from North America right now, at least off the top of my head. All the head coaches are. But yeah, I think once a European coach will succeed in the NHL soon as the game continues to grow and the Finlands of the world continue to churn out some really good players and coaches. I think ultimately we'll see first in a European coach as an assistant coach and then move his way up. Like someone like Igor Larionov, I could see as an assistant coach or head coach down the road for sure. Alfred, how optimistic are you the Canadian teams can play NHL games in their own arenas given the current state between the NHL and the provincial governments. Well, this looks better and better every day, Alfred. It sounds like the NHL and the clubs have worked really hard with the provincial health authorities. Jim Benning hinted as much this morning, even thanking the provincial health authorities. So I think that the NHL teams will play in their own arenas. I haven't heard anything contrary to the sort, and they still have at least a week and a half to get that sorted out. And then, I don't know how to say this, KWIJIBO, maybe it's Quijibo, says this: what's your take on Berchi's position in the organization? Are you still annoyed that Luongo retired officially instead of LTIR like Chris Pronger? And then I enjoyed your chat with Steve Dangle, kind of like the Avengers of hockey YouTubers. Who would be your hockey YouTubers as Avengers? Well, I'll start with that one because I don't know the Avengers well enough. Obviously, I'll be the best looking one. I'm just kidding. I would have to research the Avengers to do a proper answer. But yes, I would agree with you that Steve Dangle would be the Hulk. And thank you for the compliment. I really enjoyed that interview as well. A lot of fun, great flow. And obviously Steve's personality came out. To answer your two Canucks related questions, Berchi, they say they're going to give him a chance, but I don't know if that ship has sailed. There's just a lot of, not bad blood, but I think there's a bit of distrust there. But if he blows the socks off of everyone at camp, they got to give him a spot. And there's a spot to be taken, right, on the second line, beside Bo Horvat and Tanner Pearson. But I'm not sure where his game's at right now. So I trust Jim Benning when they say, and Travis Green when they say they're going to give Berchi an honest chance to make the team. And then are you still annoyed that Luongo retired officially? No, I'm not annoyed at him. He earned that contract. He could do whatever he wants. It would be nicer if we didn't have the cap recapture penalty. But overall, I'm not annoyed at him. It was the system that was in place. I'm more annoyed at the NHL itself. But what can you do? 2 more years, and that $3.5 million, $3 million would be nice to spend, obviously. Okay, everyone, those are great questions. Before I wrap up, I want to share with you that over the next few days, I'll be recording some collab videos. I'm going to do division previews for every division of the NHL. And so I have Nick of Twisted Wrister Hockey. He's going to talk to me about the West Division. I have John from Hot Take Hockey going to talk to me about the North Division. Record those two today for release later this week. I have Kim, also known as the Isles Girl. She's going to talk to me about the East Division. That's later in the week. And I have Nathan Grav from Dallas, from the Texas area. He's going to talk to me about the Central Division. So again, that's Nick, John, Kim, and Nathan. Can't wait to talk to all of them this week. And I'll be releasing those videos every night at 9 p.m. Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday of this week. Lastly, speaking of live streams or speaking of releasing videos, don't forget tomorrow night, live stream me, Sean, and Jake, NHL 21 Challenge, starting at 10 p.m. sharp. Okay, there's a lot there. Leave a comment below. Read, react, and reply to any of my answers. I hope I got to your question. I didn't think I missed any of them, and I hope I answered them to your satisfaction. Lots of Canucks news going to be trickling down throughout the next few days. Stay with me as I try and report on them, on the news and the rumors, as quickly and as properly and as accurately as I can. In the meantime, subscribe if you like to, like this video if you like to. Stay safe, stay healthy, take care of yourselves, and take care of each other. Have a great day. God bless, and go Canucks go.